Listener discretion is advised. The RPGeek Podcast is made by friends with varying opinions, political, and religious beliefs. Nothing we say should be taken as an attack on anyone or anything in particular. In addition, we like to say naughty words and make jokes that may come off as offensive to some people. Please enjoy. Previously on the RPGeek Podcast, starting a little mini-series kind of thing, talking about Game of the Year. It's a pretty controversial topic, I think, in recent years anyway. Halo was what made everybody go, oh no, this is the way to do it.
And I was playing Halo 2 on Master Chief Collection with the new graphics. The soundtrack was different.
Yes.
They didn't keep the Breaking Benjamin part, but when I switched the button, I could hear it. So I was like, no, we're just going full-fledged with this.
Well, plus, I mean, Twilight Princess, I think, gave us one of the earliest brain rot songs ever.
This is true.
I can still hear it in my head today, and it whenever I'm doing some monotonous task, it's just the worst. And I'm gonna put a snippet of it in this episode because I want
If it sticks with you, it has to stick with everybody.
Yeah, I want everybody to suffer as I have. So.
So moving on to 2007, BioShock. No.
I have never... I know the story.
Oh, you never played them?
I've never played BioShock 1.
Okay.
I have played BioShock 2. I've played... I don't think the third one...
BioShock Infinite, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think the third one's called 3. I played that one. I've never... let me rephrase that. I've never beaten the original BioShock.
Okay.
I started playing through it, and I was enjoying it.
Gotcha.
And then somebody spoiled the ending for me, and I... almost punched him in the throat.
See, 2007's hard for me. I know we weren't going to do this, but there is so many good games in 2007.
Please. Yeah, I didn't say we weren't going to do this.
Yeah.
I said we weren't going to do this for all of them because we're going through 30 years.
So 2007 for me was one of the biggest years for me. 2007, Christmas 2007, I got my 360, and it was my first time ever being on any form of online service.
Yep.
So when I got my Xbox Live, my first game in 2007 that I got on Christmas with my Xbox was Halo 3.
Okay.
That was my first entry, but it was also my first game for 360. Halo 3 and a bunch of other games were so good that year. You had games, Call of Duty 4, that will live in my heart forever for many reasons.
Yep.
Even if people don't consider it the best, it is the best to me.
Call of Duty 4 is the best.
But Call of Duty 4, Halo 3, Portal, Team Fortress 2, like the whole Orange Box series.
Yeah.
You had the original Skate, and, you know, there was so many other good games. Now, I didn't play these games till way later, but then you had the original Crysis. You had Super Mario Galaxy. BioShock was a great game, but it's so controversial to me because there was so much good stuff that came out in that era. 2007, when I look at 2007 and like the lineup for 2007, it was incredible. It really was an incredible year. And so for me to pick BioShock, I don't know if I can 100% agree with it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think BioShock gets by on its story, which I will not spoil here.
Yeah.
But like you said, you had Mass Effect, you know, which had an incredible story, although it's a shorter game.
Yeah.
If you don't do everything, the story was incredible. You had Portal, you had the original Assassin's Creed.
The original, yeah.
You had Uncharted Drake's Fortune. You had the Witcher. But you also mentioned, and I think the biggest game of 2007, Crysis.
Yeah.
There were...
Nobody could run it.
That's the thing. That everybody would make these computers and be like, well, can it run Crysis? Like that was a big thing.
Yeah. Everybody
could run BioShock. Nobody, but if nobody could run Crysis, and so I think that there were, like you said, there's just so many games that I don't think that I would pick Crysis as my pick for.
You mean BioShock?
That's what I meant. Excuse me. I wouldn't pick Crysis either, but I wouldn't pick BioShock as my pick for 2007.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, when it comes to like just first-person shooters, like BioShock here is mentioned as a first-person shooter, I would agree with it, but I also think it's more of an action adventure.
Yeah.
But either way, like if you're going to compare first-person shooters, Call of Duty 4 and Halo 3 would beat the crap out of BioShock, in my opinion, any day.
I mean, Halo 3 was the end, supposedly, the end of a series.
Yeah.
Obviously it wasn't, and it was a good end.
It was an incredible ending. Like, I remember being, younger, and the first time I beat that game, so online, and still talk to him every once in a while. In Halo 3, I made essentially like a lifelong online friend.
Mm-hmm.
And we were playing online together, and then, I would spend hours and hours and hours and hours doing shoddy snipes in multiplayer in Halo 3. It was one of my favorite shotguns and snipers. Yeah. And I became so good at sniping in that game. That's what really led me to every first-person shooter that I play having to use a sniper was because of Halo 3.
Yeah.
But I remember telling him I never beat the campaign. And he was like, well, we're about to change that. And so me and him did the ending of that game together. And we ended up picking up this other guy. And he became friends with both of us. And so it was the three of us playing this campaign together for first time. And I finally got to the ending and I saw that ending. And anybody that hasn't played Halo 3 yet, I'm not going to spoil it, but that ending left me with feels.
Yeah.
Like I was
great ending.
I was so like, even now, like I could feel it. Like it brings me back. Like that, there are some games in my life that like I have just deep emotional attachments to, even if they're not the greatest games.
Yeah.
And like Halo 3's campaign had a great ending. The campaign itself, was it the greatest campaign? Probably not. But it was, but for me, like I spent so much time in that game and so much invested in Halo 3 and Call of Duty 4 that anytime like those are brought up, like it goes deep for me. I love it.
I gotta say, I will, to give credit to BioShock.
Yeah.
But it also doesn't give credit to BioShock, is 2007, the games that came out, the endings of those games were
incredible.
BioShock's ending, for those of you who know how the story ends, who knows that pivotal moment, that's an incredible ending. Halo 3, the ending, the post-credits ending was so good. Call of Duty Modern Warfare was the ending of that was great, and then the following mission on the plane afterwards was insane. God of War 2's ending, where Kratos teams up with the Titans to just go after Olympus. Insane. Assassin's Creed.
The ending to Assassin's Creed was fucking incredible.
The ending to Assassin's Creed was insane. Mass Effect, incredible ending. Uncharted's ending was very good. Unfortunately, the original Uncharted's controls were kind of wonky, but it was fine, but like there's so.
But then you had like little party games that came out right during that time.
Yeah.
Guitar Hero 3, one of the most legendary Guitar Heroes of all time. Rock Band came out.
Yeah.
I mean, Forza Motorsport 2, probably one of my favorite Forzas. That's what got me into Forza. It was Forza Motorsport 2 and playing that game for hours.
The Darkness came out that year.
Yeah.
Which that was an incredible.
It's so good.
2007 was an incredible year. So I understand why they picked BioShock, knowing how the game ends and knowing everything in that game and how fun that game is, but I don't think I would pick it.
No, I don't think I would pick it. See, the thing about years like this, like gaming years like this, 2007, in the last several years, we've had one or two big games that have been like really good. But you look at 07, this was a whole page worth of incredible games, and I think I've been chasing that ever since.
I think we all have.
I mean, it brought some of the most legendary series to continued some legendary series, but also brought some brand new legendary series.
Yeah.
And like ever since then, I've been chasing that monster.
Yeah.
But moving on from 2007, because it's just been way too much time time on it.
Yeah. On 2008.
2008, you got GTA 4.
Grand Theft Auto 4. This was your favorite one, right?
It was one of my favorites, yeah. I think, like, it wasn't my first entry. My first entry was San Andreas.
Yeah.
And, of course, that was just a great game. There's not many people that knock on San Andreas. GTA 4, in comparison to Grand Theft Auto 3, which I did to play later, and then Grand Theft Auto 5, which is the newest installment, 3, 6. 4 had, I think, one of the best storylines that I had ever played out of a Grand Theft Auto. I'm not going to spoil it, but that ending was another ending that was an incredible ending that would leave you with an emotional attachment, especially if you invested a lot of hours into it. But, you know, GTA 4 was an incredible storyline. And also, you had one of the best cousins of all time.
I loved Grand Theft Auto 4's story. I hated Grand Theft Auto 4's controls.
Yeah, you hated the driving, right?
The driving was awful. But I will 100% agree. Grand Theft Auto 4, great game.
Grand Theft Auto 4, in my opinion, out of all the Grand Theft Autos, had the best ragdoll physics out of all Grand Theft Autos.
Yeah.
It really did, especially when you got to the swing glitch.
Yeah, which still works. They never patched that out. Actually, they patched it out and they patched it back in. People complain. But yeah, 2008, Grand Theft Auto 4, I got no complaints with that. I think that's a great pick. When we go and do our own picks, I think I might have a point of contention, but now, I totally agree with it. I will
say that GTA 4 had one of the best online free roams, because while there was some griefing, it is nothing like today. Like, GTA 5 free roam is unplayable.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I always did private servers in GTA because of the griefing in GTA 5.
Yeah, it's just unplayable at this point.
On to 2009 with Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. I 100% agree with this one.
Okay.
Uncharted 2 Among Thieves was a fantastic game. If you don't like playable movies, you won't like Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. But I thoroughly, the story in it is absolutely fantastic. The gameplay was such an improvement from the original Uncharted, and the start of that, where you're just dangling out of a train, was so good.
Now, I never owned a PS3, never have.
Yep.
So I didn't play any of the Uncharted series, unfortunately.
I think they're on PC now.
Which I never played any of the Uncharted series, so I don't have any experience with it. If I'm going to take a random stab at it, 2009, my game would have been Assassin's Creed 2, because it was the intro to one of the largest... it was technically November of 2009, I believe, that Assassin's Creed 2, but it was personally the beginning of my favorite trilogy, and personally my favorite Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, 2009, again...
great year.
2000 to 2010 were
just legendary,
insane years for games.
Yeah,
for modern
they were great
game series and things like that. But I still got to, I mean, without diving into it too much, I still got to give it to Uncharted 2. Just because of how well done that game was. Yeah, how beautiful that game looked and still looks at the time. The amount of replayability to it, the collectibles, but the overall story was just so damn good in Uncharted 2.
Now, I have a question for you. This is kind of off topic, but as far as Naughty Dog goes, do you think their Uncharted series was way better than their Last of Us series?
Oh, totally.
Okay. Totally. I was just curious.
Uncharted is leaps and bounds ahead of Last of Us.
Gotcha. Didn't they make a movie out of Uncharted?
They did, starring Spider-Man and Mark Wahlberg, and it's good. They're making a second one.
Did they at least pay good, respectable homage to the gameplay?
Yes.
Okay.
It's enjoyable.
There's obviously some Hollywood done there, but
there's a lot of Hollywood done there.
Okay.
But it's enjoyable. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It has one of my favorite jokes, bartending related, very funny, but overall, like, very good. I do kind of wish that they had gotten it up and running when they first announced it years ago, where Mark Wahlberg was going to be the main character.
Gotcha.
But eventually they got him back and he was just the old guy.
Gotcha.
Which is how he describes it. It's like, oh, I was supposed to be the lead and now I'm just the old guy. It's, he plays Sully. He's a fan favorite character. It was good. Yeah. It was not, as far as video game adaptations for movies, up until Uncharted and Mario and all them, video game movie adaptations mostly sucked. I would say I enjoyed Resident Evil, but I consider that its own thing, that series. And Silent Hill I enjoyed as movies.
Yeah, that's fair.
but Mario, the original Super Mario Bros. Movie from 1993 or whenever the hell that was, still haunts my nightmares. And they've done a few since then. Monster Hunter was terrible. Like they've done a few since then that have been very bad. But Uncharted was the first really good video game movie, and Uncharted 2 was just a fantastic game. So let's move on to 2010.
Yep. Turn of the decade.
Turn of the decade. Not as fancy as turn of the century, but it's still fine. Red Dead Redemption. John Marston.
Now, I could see why they picked this for 2010.
Mm-hmm.
This actually wasn't my first entry. Red Dead Revolver was my first entry.
Oh, yeah. Red Dead Revolver.
Which was a great game.
It's also made by Capcom.
Yeah, it was. This was the first one in the series where Rockstar actually had produced it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really good storyline. It was a great storyline. I think, in comparison to the later installment of Red Dead 2, which became one of my favorite games, the one thing that I did enjoy about Red Dead Redemption in 2010, first of all, was the duels. The duels were so fun.
Yes.
And also being able to go to Mexico.
That was where I fell off in Red Dead. I thought that the beginning was so strong, right? And when you get to the part where you have to go after, I forget what the character was.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, though.
You go in with the Gatling gun and everything. I thought that was such a strong opening to the game. And then I thought that was such a strong opening to the game. And then you go to Mexico and it's empty. It's just nothing. And I sat there and I'm like, okay, like I just couldn't keep going with it. I was just like, this is such a huge drop off. And I didn't care about any of the characters at first.
Okay.
And then I later played Red Dead 2, and it made me care about those characters. Because I think once you went to Mexico, that was where I think you re-met Javier, and you met Dutch, and all that. And I think that you needed Red Dead 2 to enjoy Red Dead. I needed Red Dead 2 to enjoy Red Dead.
Yeah, to be fair, Red Dead 2 was, and to anybody that doesn't know, is a prequel to Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption kind of sets you up in this landscape where you're out of the gang, but the gang is wanted, and you end up getting sucked in by these corrupt, I forget what they're called, Pink something, I forget what they're called.
Oh, the Pinkertons.
Yeah, Pinkertons. You end up getting sucked in by these corrupt Pinkertons, and you have to track down all your old gang members, and essentially, so on and so forth. The ending to that game was incredible.
The ending of the original Red Dead was fantastic.
A lot of people thought that RDR2 was going to take place as John Marston's son, which I'm hoping, if they do come out with another installment of Red Dead 3, will be that sequel to Red Dead Redemption. But the only problem with that is this takes kind of... The problem with Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2 is it's kind of hard to see where it would go from here, because they put it into an era where it was like the turn of the century.
Yeah, I think you can only go back.
Yeah, because they put it in this turn of the century. It's the Wild West. There's no law kind of thing. But the ending of Red Dead Redemption 2, and especially if you play the epilogue to it, it goes on further. It's almost right before cars start becoming a thing.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard to see where it could go from here, other than you're in the same timeline playing as a different crew in a different area. Like, that's the only thing that I could see coming out of it.
Yeah, either that or they just keep going backwards.
Yeah, I mean,
go all the way back to the Oregon Trail.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but I just also hope they don't do, and this is not to say anything bad about it, but like Assassin's Creed 3, where they tried to take a different standpoint on, that, because you have, it was the American Revolution, the Americans, the British, and they took, a Native American, and they started doing that. I just hope, with Red Dead 3, I'm not saying that I hope they don't use Native Americans or whatever, but I just hope they don't create this unfleshed character
you gotta
to keep going.
Yeah, the problem with Connor wasn't that he was a Native American. I thought that was awesome. The problem with Connor was he was half a character given the leading man role.
Exactly.
Like if he was an NPC, it would have made way more sense. But they fleshed out, what's his name, Hatham?
Yeah.
They fleshed him out so much.
Yeah.
And then you flip to Connor for the second half of the game, and you're like,
I just want to be Hatham again.
You're just like, and I understand not fully fleshing out a character if the player is supposed to insert themselves into that character. You know, with somebody like Link. Link has, you know, Link is supposed to be the player's avatar throughout the Zelda games. But Connor wasn't that. And neither is Arthur Morgan in Red Dead 2 or John Marston or Jack Marston in Red Dead Redemption. They all had their own motivations for everything.
Yes.
The difference is John and Jack's motivation and Arthur's motivations all make a lot of sense, and Connor's motivations made absolutely no goddamn sense.
So I'm just hoping they don't do that. You know, if I could see Red Dead Redemption 3 coming out with the leader of a different gang, like there was a bunch of different gangs throughout those storylines that you could be a part of a different one.
Yeah.
But I can't see it going any further into the timeline. Otherwise, it's just going to be Grand Theft Auto. Yeah. In the 20s. So
I mean, it would be neat if Red Dead turned into Grand Theft Auto.
I mean, it would just be Mafia at that point. Hey, who knows?
Hey.
You know,
who knows?
Inception.
Yep. All right. Now for 2011 with 11-11-11.
You know, I love it. I love it. You know, it's funny you mentioned that before we announced, and most people know by now.
Yeah.
But I was looking back the other day to see with the first day that I played this game, and there was a site that I had to sign up for, and it took all the games that I played on my console, and it showed the first date that I played it. I played this on 11/12/11, so I played it the day after release, and still to this day, I still play it. So, but
I played it on, well, I played it on 11/1/11.
But, you know, Elder Scrolls 5, Skyrim, 100% deserving, 2011. Yeah. 100% deserving.
As many problems as I have with this game, and there are many, it makes sense. I mean, the game sold incredibly. Everybody lost their goddamn minds with this game, and, you know, and it was just, at the time, it was gorgeous.
And the one thing I gotta give to Skyrim, out of all the problems, out of all the issues, out of everything, is Skyrim brought a crap ton of people into the Elder Scrolls series to go back and play Morrowind and Oblivion and Arena and all them. This brought in a plethora of new fans, and still today there are people that are probably still buying this game for the first time.
Oh yeah, even
though there's 12 different copies and 12 different versions, you know, of this game, and there'll probably be another version, you know, soon. You know, next year will be their 15th anniversary. There'll probably be a new copy of their 15th anniversary. Who knows?
I want Todd to make. I want Todd to make Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim NES edition.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
give me Skyrim, but it's the original Zelda 8-bit. I don't care. Do it.
The Skyrim microwave edition. You know, you can play it off your microwave.
Look, you can play it on your Alexa.
Yeah, so I gotta give it to it. Also, Skyrim has one of the largest modding communities of all time.
Oh yeah, Elder Scrolls modding communities are huge. I mean, the Elder Scrolls is the whole reason why Nexus mods was a thing. Yeah, you know. So, but Skyrim, it was so good at the time. It was fantastic. I have points of contention with Skyrim, but at the time, you know, 2011, I completely understand that this was their pick.
Oh yeah.
Let's move on to 2012 with a game that everybody likes but me. Far Cry 3.
I can understand why you don't like it. Far Cry 3, personally, for me, is one of my favorites. But I can understand why you don't like it. For me, what really just sinks it, the gameplay wasn't great. But what sinks it for me was the voice acting. The voice acting in that game was incredible. And I forget his name off the top of my head.
Voss?
Voss, yes, but the actual actor.
Oh, yeah,
the fellow who played Voss is one of, if not the best antagonist voice actors I've seen.
Well, that's not the point of contention that I have with this game. I think that the acting and even the story for Far Cry 3 are very good.
Yeah.
Albeit, I think that they I guess spoilers for a 13-year-old game.
Yeah.
Voss isn't the main villain. He's just who you see first.
Yeah.
And he barely makes it halfway through the game.
Yeah.
So, but overall, he did such a great job that they brought him back in later Far Cry spin-off thing. But also, like, the characters, the story, all of that was really good. My point of contention with Far Cry 3 is it doesn't need to be an open world game.
That's fair.
It would be, in my opinion, it would have been a much better game if it was linear levels, things like that, just to kind of keep the story moving.
I think when Far Cry 2, I don't remember if the original Far Cry was linear. I think it was. But Far Cry 2 was open world, so I think they just kind of stuck with that formula.
Far Cry 2 was sort of open world.
It was sort of open world. It was open world. It was just a small map. Yeah. It was really small.
Well, it was pretty large, but it was sort of open world. But you still followed like levels and things like that. There were still objectives that had to be done.
Yeah.
Whereas Far Cry 3, once you get past the really weird beginning of the game and you decide to go native, like, the world just kind of opens up to you, and it just gives you so much to do right at the beginning, where it's like, you go hunting, you go help these guys, you go do this, you could go blow up these towers, you do this, that, and it was too much, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair.
For me to fully enjoy the game and the story.
This area, this like 3 to 4 year period was really big on movies and games being you started off as a part of the villain, or you started off like just visiting or something, and then you became one of them and you turned everything around. You had like Avatar, a big popular movie, which is Dances with Wolves in space.
Yeah. And
then you had Far Cry 3, and you had a bunch of other things where you just kind of started there and you all of a sudden became one of them, kind of thing.
I don't agree with 2012's Far Cry 3, but I understand why people like it.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, it was still a post-2010 Ubisoft game, so it's still quite broken, even to this day.
I mean, it's still better than what they put out now. 2013, this is the first one that I vehemently disagree with.
Fair.
BioShock Infinite as Game of the Year, I completely disagree with this one. BioShock Infinite has so many issues that you notice as you're playing through it, but you also have to remember that this game came out the same year as the original Last of Us and Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah,
like, there's no way in hell.
And honestly, the original Last of Us should have taken it on this one, in my personal opinion. I
agree. I think the original Last of Us was so well done.
Yeah.
Before all the DLC and before they went out of their way to destroy it. The original Last of Us, the story was so well done. That was the first game in a while where I just sat down and I played through it, no breaks, just start to finish. But I mean, BioShock Infinite came out 2013. You had Assassin's Creed Black Flag. You had The Last of Us. You had Grand Theft Auto 5. You had the Tomb Raider reboot. You had Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. You had Saints Row 4, which, sure, people don't like that one. But you had Battlefield 4. You had Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. You had Injustice. You had Warframe, which, I mean, massive game. Yeah. You had Payday 2. You had... I mean, there was so many. Pikmin 3 came out. There was just so much, and yet you're stuck playing BioShock Infinite. Just wasn't good at all.
I mean, I think the map design. That's pretty much it.
I think the only reason, like, the map design, the overall themes where you're not underwater, but you're now in the sky, and it's weird colonial steampunky kind of thing. What was the girl's name? Elizabeth?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, she is, her storyline is kind of neat, I guess, but overall it wasn't good.
Yeah.
It wasn't good, and
this was the last one in the series.
It killed the series.
Yeah.
There, one of the biggest things with BioShock Infinite that I thought was just absolutely obnoxious was, at one point, we were going through town and everything. There's a whole bunch of people, and then a gunfight breaks out. People just disappear.
Yeah.
Like, they just pop out of existence.
Yeah.
It's bad. So I don't agree with BioShock Infinite for 2013. But people really like it. The story overall is very good. And for all of the degenerates out there, Elizabeth did a lot for, well, we'll get to Overwatch in a minute. 2014, Dragon Age Inquisition.
This was a fun game.
It was fun.
It was a fun game.
It was. I mean, it was the last decent Dragon Age.
Yeah. I mean, I had a lot of fun with it. I don't think I beat it. I think I played it for a while, and I don't think I beat it.
I broke it very quickly.
But it was fun while it lasted. And, you know, I think, I don't know, I think it was kind of a middle of the road game. 2014 doesn't really ring too many bells as far as like other games that came out.
Yeah, 2014, the biggest ones in 2014 really are Dragon Age Inquisition,
Yep.
Dark Souls 2,
Okay.
Shadow of Mordor,
Yep.
Stick of Truth, Mario Kart 8, Alien Isolation, and Wolfenstein The New Order.
I mean, Wolfenstein The New Order was alright.
Oh, and the Super Smash Bros. For 3DS and Wii U.
I mean, Wolfenstein was alright, but yeah, I mean, not many incredible titles that year. So
2014 did have PT
okay.
for all of 5 minutes before
Yeah.
the most.
But that game laid so much groundwork for some incredible horror games.
Yeah.
Regardless, sticking to Dragon Age.
Sticking with Dragon Age.
It was alright.
Yeah,
alright.
I could agree with Dragon Age as the game of the year.
Comparison to all the other lovely titles out there. But,
Yeah,
you know.
I enjoyed Dragon Age Inquisition. I played it a lot. I think the multiplayer left a lot to be desired. In the fact that you couldn't play as your own character, you had to play as pre-made characters, kind of blows.
Yeah.
But again, this was the last good Dragon Age.
So 2015, we have The Witcher 3.
100% agree with this.
100% agree with this, but interesting also take on my part. I never beat it.
Okay.
I started it about 5 times, and I never beat. Now I beat The Witcher 2.
Yep.
For some reason, I haven't beat The Witcher 3, and from what I've heard, like I could sink easy 70, 80 hours into it if I wanted to.
Easily. Especially if you do all the Gwent stuff.
And like that's the kind of stuff I love is doing that. And now I played The Witcher 2. I beat The Witcher 2. I enjoyed The Witcher 2. I don't know why. For The Witcher 3, I've started it like 5 times. I just can't keep my attention span. But it's also my problem is this is about the time that I got a PC.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got The Witcher 3 on my PC, I can distinctly remember it being like a Steam summer sale not too shortly after.
Yeah.
And my brain just went 30 different directions after that point, and I just never went back.
So The Witcher 3, I think, was, as much as I love that game, I think it was the game that made me realize that I had open world fatigue.
Okay.
What I mean by The Witcher 3 made me realize I had open world fatigue is that the world in The Witcher 3 is so beautiful and so well crafted and so interesting that I would constantly have all of these things to do. You know, you go, you gather things for potions, you go and you do this side quest, you try and get bombs and all this other stuff that at a certain point you realize that you're just doing a checklist.
Gotcha.
It's like you're going through this area and you're like, okay, over here is a monster nest. I have to go. I gotta kill all the monsters. I gotta blow up the nest. Over here is a side quest where I could go and do this. Over here is, and like you just start being like, okay, I've checked everything off this list. I found the buried treasure, like the sunken treasure at the bottom of the water. I've done this and that. And after a while, it's like, why have I put 50 hours into this game and I don't feel like I've gotten anywhere with the story.
Gotcha.
And it's one of those things where it's like, I love the game. I love the story of it. I think The Witcher 3 was absolutely fantastic, and I'm hoping The Witcher 4 is very good. But there's, at a certain point, how much of your open world is just like, this is just here for reasons. Like, versus like having an actual story that I want to be a part of.
So what you're saying is how much of the open world are you filling rather than utilizing, kind of thing?
Exactly.
You're just filling rather than utilizing.
How much of the open world did you craft and then just go, man, there's nothing here. I don't know, man. Put a monster's nest.
Yeah.
Put a place of power over here. And okay, well, why do I have to go and do this and that? It's like, I love The Witcher 3. I think it's a lot of fun. I love fighting the big monsters. Like that Griffin fight right in the beginning of the game just stands out to me so much. But again, it's just I can't do a lot of open world games.
Gotcha.
Which I will contradict myself very soon on this list, because I can see the list.
I see that. I see what you're about to say.
But for the most part, it holds true.
Yeah, okay.
So
I think for me, open world games, I like them if they have, like, to your point, a fleshed out environment, which later in this string of lines, the string has a game on here that has a very fleshed out open world. But I think I mainly utilize open worlds for crafting games. Because like survival crafting games, like, they work with open world. Yeah,
well, that's the thing is, like, we've got a bit off topic, but still, it applies. Is survival crafting games, a lot of times I won't travel super far unless I have to.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, I have everything that I want to do is right here, and I could keep doing it right here, versus some of them require you to be like, well, I got to go and find this thing. So I got to go out, like, Satisfactory is a big one.
Medieval Dynasty,
but it's still one of those things where there's a reason for me to go off and search for this versus The Witcher is like, well, there's a monster over here. There's this over here. There's a buried treasure over here. There's a place. And it's like, it doesn't feel like I'm living in this world more. So it feels like, all right, go here, check this box, go here, check that box. And, all of this to say, I still love this game.
And one last comment.
I love the DLC.
And I think that's one thing that in the earlier installments of Assassin's Creed that they did well, it wasn't necessarily like an open world, but it was a series of small maps.
Yes.
That were
filled with a bunch of bullshit.
They were they could be filled with a bunch of bullshit, but they felt a lot more fleshed out, and you didn't have a lot of too many of the unnecessaries that you have nowadays. Yeah,
after the first Assassin's Creed, they figured it out. Yeah. And then they forgot it again with Odyssey.
Well, then they went to pretty much open world completely now, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Do you like to feel energized? I know I do. I'm a bit of a caffeine myself. Do you want to feel like you can climb a mountain fresh out of bed? Or maybe stream for 12 hours without any internal lag? Well, you're listening to the right ad. But before I get into it, let's talk about jitters. Have you ever had an energy drink that leaves you just feeling fast but anxious? A drink that makes you feel like Dash from The Incredibles, yet vibrating apart like an old car? Well, not this one. Introducing to you Dubby Energy. Dubby Energy's special formulated blend of jitterless energy is made from coffee extract, a natural, clean, jitterless source of energy. You could scale walls, run across the ocean, maybe even fly, although we at the RPGeek Podcast recommend a parachute for that. They have flavors such as pomegranate blossom, peach, dragon fruit lemonade, even Grandpa's denture water. With all these great flavors to choose from, how would you not want to turn your brain into a supercomputer with all this clean energy? Right now, if you go to dubby.gg and use code RPGeek Podcast at checkout, you could get 10% off your next order. That's RPGEEK Podcast at checkout. Or if you're trying to get it done in just one shot, type dubby.gg/RPGeek Podcast. Again, that's RPGEEK Podcast for 10% off your next order.
No, while W Energy tastes delicious and makes you feel good, it will not allow you to walk across water, scale walls, or fly. Please do not sue us if you do something stupid. Thank you.
Thank you to W Energy, and back to the show.
Last thing I'll say on The Witcher 3, I don't like Gwent, fight me. Overwatch 2016. Yeah, I get this one. I sunk so many hours into Overwatch before Blizzard ruined it. It was a very fun 6v6 hero shooter.
Gotcha.
When they went to Overwatch 2, they made it 5v5, and now I think it's 6v6 again? I don't know. Overwatch, when it first came out, took the world by storm. Graphically looked so good. It looked like a Pixar movie from back when Pixar movies looked good. It it had these characters who were all wholly unique, and there was this story going on in the background. They were always dropping these little hints on these new characters and everything. It's like, oh my God, there's this character. Oh, one of them was a hacker who you kind of heard about from the beginning. Cool. And then they dropped little hints in game about this hacker. And then finally you got the hacker in there. He talks about Doomfist, this big dude with the friggin' crazy infinity gauntlet. Yeah. And he eventually became part of the game. And there was just so many really good characters in Overwatch, and God, I wish Blizzard would just get their shit together. and because it's such a good IP, and then they just blew it.
Gotcha.
Just blew it. But back in 2016, Overwatch was absolutely fantastic, and it could do no wrong until it did. Am I just the only one here?
I have not played Overwatch. I know
so good.
I know one of my cousins ended up becoming so good in Overwatch, he ended up doing like tournaments out in New York and everything like that.
That's
for
cool.
it. Not MLG, but what was the other one? There's another like big tournament out there. He ended up doing a lot of tournaments for Overwatch though.
That's
Overwatch,
cool.
I think he's doing Overwatch 2 tournaments now.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. But I mean, he's really good at it.
It was fun, man. Like the ability to switch characters on the fly to kind of make up for team comp just added a whole hell of a lot. Unfortunately, it was marred by endless buffs and debuffs and nerfs and all this other nonsense.
Yeah.
And every time a new character came out, another old character became useless.
Sorry, that's what I was thinking of. I was thinking of esports.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does esports. And he's got his whole team. They've actually made money on their tournaments, which is really neat. And I'm like,
that's awesome.
Man, I'm good for you.
Yeah, but yeah, Overwatch, like BioShock Infinite, did quite a bit for a very specific industry. Moving on to Breath of the Wild for 2017.
Yeah,
like that transition.
Yeah, you can take that one, buddy.
So remember how I said I did not like open worlds?
Yeah,
yeah. I'm immediately contradicting myself. I absolutely loved Breath of the Wild, and that game is empty. No spoilers, the game takes place essentially after the end of the world. Calamity Ganon shows up and basically
I really wish that was his Nintendo name.
That is his name.
Oh, that Calamity Ganon?
Calamity Ganon.
Oh jeez.
Is the name in Breath of the Wild.
I love it.
And he shows up and he just fucks shit up.
Oh, the Calamity.
He just shows up, he just fucks shit up, and it's really, really bad. And Link dies. And then 100 years later, Link is revived.
Nice.
Same Link. And that's where you start, is 100 years after essentially the end of the world. So
it's almost like the intro to Fallout 4. You just get frozen in time for 200 years.
I would say it's more like the intro to Fallout New Vegas, where you just get shot and then you have to come back from that. Only you're not getting shot by Matthew Perry. You're getting shot by robots that were supposed to help you fight Ganon and instead turned on you. Great game. A lot of fun. It's such a beautiful environment. Mm-hmm. And while one of the things that I like about Breath of the Wild versus The Witcher is, yes, it is an open world game, but the story is right at the beginning. Once you leave the cave, your goal is defeat Ganon. That's it. Gotcha. That is your goal. As a player, if you can literally go to Ganon right away. That is one of the features of the game, is once you're done, you could be like, all right, bet, run right to Hyrule Castle, let's go. Like, you could do that. Mm-hmm. Do I recommend it? Probably not. Because there's a whole bunch of story happens. There's 4 whole dungeons. There's all this stuff. But this world is, despite being destroyed, is kind of on the mend. And it's just, you can go to Kakariko Village, you could go here and there, and you find people from Link's past, and you kind of learn what's transpired over the last 100 years, and the world is there for you to explore as much of it as you want, but you never feel the need to just be like, I'm just gonna go search this. There's a waypoint over here.
Stuff.
Yeah. There's no waypoint over here for you to go and do this. Anything that you want to do is stuff that you want to do.
So it's almost like an open world sandbox with an objective.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, with these later installments of The Legend of Zelda, like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, did they, like, because I always like when creators do this, but did they give any form of, like, Easter eggs or homage to, like, the older series with, like, Majora's Mask or Twilight Princess or Ocarina or anything?
All of it.
Okay, cool.
Even stuff that doesn't make sense.
Gotcha.
So essentially, you're familiar with the Zelda timeline?
Yeah.
How Ocarina of Time broke it into 3 separate timelines?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is at the end of all 3 of those timelines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Things that shouldn't have happened have happened.
All right.
And it doesn't make sense, and they don't explain it, and they never will. They're like, we broke your brains with this timeline.
Let's break it again.
We don't want you to think too much about it, but because we know that you're not going to stop thinking about it, this is so far ahead in time that it doesn't matter what happened previously. But like specifically Ocarina of Time, when you first awaken, you awaken on this plateau, and right in this plateau is the Temple of Time from Ocarina of Time.
Oh, jeez.
It looks exactly like it. It's got a nice courtyard and everything like that. But that you can go in, you could explore it. It looks gorgeous.
Gotcha.
But it's built like the Ocarina of Time Temple of Time. Tears of the Kingdom had had a layout in an area which was very reminiscent of the original Legend of Zelda. Actually, Breath of the Wild also had that. It had a spot where it looked like the first dungeon from the original Legend of Zelda.
Oh, that's cool.
So like it has callbacks to every single game.
Gotcha.
Even the map has callbacks because everything, like on an actual map, everything from rivers to valleys to lakes to ponds to mountain ranges are all named, and most of their names are things from previous Zeldas.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's incredible. It is huge fan service wrapped in a very good game.
Nice.
So let's move on to the next one. I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, 2018, Red Dead Redemption 2. So this, personally, in the last 10 years or so, had become one of my favorite open world games. And I think Rockstar did a really good job with it. I think they did a horrible job with their online. But the actual, if you're going to play by yourself and do a single player game, and actually get like attached to the characters. If you're just gonna blow through it, don't even bother. If you're actually gonna take your time and play it, it can become one of the most incredible games. I think there's a lot of things that Rockstar showcased in this game that were missing in a lot of the, I'll just call them general popular games that were open world. The world is so breathable that it really feels like it's alive. There's been people that have just goofed around, and you can see it online, that have just followed an NPC around all day, and they actually live real lives.
Yeah.
They go around, they'll chop wood, they'll go fishing, they'll gather supplies, they'll go home, they'll go to stores. Like every single NPC actually has a life. Now, the one thing that I did wish would have occurred, but the games are so far apart, is that like choices that you made in Red Dead Redemption, would they have followed you over, or like would you have seen a lot more of that? I can't say follow over because it's a prequel, but would things actually matter? Because Red Dead 2, it's such a breathable world. There was so many things in that game that, even for a console sense, were so like ahead of its time, quote unquote. Like, you step in snow, and instead of like just a basic snow print, like you could see your foot drag along the snow. Like the smallest details, particle details that they had in RDR2 was incredible. Arthur's story, while the ending, and I'm not going to spoil it because it's still playable to be a first time, Arthur's story, while unavoidable, was one of the best storylines.
Yeah.
Out of the last, for me, last 5-8 years out of the games that I played. Now, I haven't played The Legend of Zeldas, so there are Nintendo games that I'm missing from this queue. But with RDR2 taking Nintendo out of my equation for the last probably 10-15 years, RDR2 is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I think it was a way better storyline than GTA 5, and that's the only comparable game with Rockstar in that timeline. But the world is gorgeous, the game is gorgeous, the storyline was great. Dutch always wants your money. And, you know, but just so many things. There's so many things. And it like took homages from so many like games that I played. Like the first time I played Far Cry 2, and you were able to throw a Molotov and actually set the environment on fire.
Yeah.
Like that was crazy to me. That's kind of in there. You have like physics with snow. You have different environments. You actually have to wear different clothes in different environments, which is kind of cool. That's kind of like survival craft. And you know, you had all these side missions and stuff like that, but you can progressively see the age and timeline in a game, and that's what I love. As time goes on, you can actually see things progress.
Oh yeah.
But that world is such a living world that even though my console's offline right now, I feel like that world's still going. Kind of thing.
It definitely invokes that.
Yeah.
Of like this, it's almost like that Toy Story feel where it's like when you walk away, your toys are out doing stuff.
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption 2 definitely feels that way. For as much as I didn't really care for Red Dead Redemption, the first one, after that initial point that I talked about, oh my God, I loved Red Dead Redemption 2. From being able to customize the handle of your gun, to playing the game in first person versus third person, to the, you know, being able to customize your horse, you know, raise different horses. You could, you gain different guns, to finding a serial killer.
Yeah.
Like that was incredible for me, was just going around and finding out that you hear about these murders and things that were happening. You're like, what the hell? And then you stumble upon a cave and it's just gruesome. The
one thing I do love about Rockstar is in all of their open world games, they have all those very random events.
Yeah.
And very random strangers. And those almost are more interesting to me than some parts of the games.
Yeah,
and,
I definitely agree.
And, you know, with RDR2, they had some of the weirdest, like, strange events, to your point. Like, you go in this cave, there's, like, gruesome. There's this one random event that, you know, you get kidnapped, essentially. They bring you in for dinner. It's like this husband and wife, but they're actually siblings. And they kidnap you and they take all your money and everything like that, and they throw you out to be eaten by pigs. And you wake up in the middle of the night just in this pig pen. You're like, what the hell happened to me? Because they drugged you. And you have to get your money and your weapons and all this stuff back. And it's just like, oh shit.
Yeah, there's that. There's I think he was also in Red Dead Redemption. I think he's one of the few characters that was in both games. But there's a dude who's very into corpses. Which is disgusting, but it's played up for humor. But Red Dead Redemption 2 was really good. My problem with Red Dead Redemption 2, because I always have to have a problem with something, is I try so hard to play that as a good person. Because there's a good ending and a bad ending.
Yeah.
You know, the endings are the same, but how you get there is good and bad. So I tried so hard to be a good person, but then I get into a fight with somebody. And so I get into a shootout. Guy dies.
And I just start blasting.
And then all of a sudden somebody else shows up.
Yeah.
And I have to shoot that person.
In the witness.
And then
the witness thing was a little obnoxious.
And people would witness you
a mile away
from like 7 miles away.
Yeah.
And you know, you had to ride forever. So unfortunately, I think that kind of sucks. But one of the really cool things about Red Dead Redemption 2 is that Red Dead Redemption 1's map in its entirety is in the game.
Oh yeah. Yep.
You could literally go there.
The only thing that I didn't like about RDR2 beyond that was the fact that the entire storyline, the main storyline, you couldn't go to the RDR1 map.
So you can,
but
you're just immediately wanted.
You know, and that was the thing. I kind of wish the whole thing was opened up. You can play it in the epilogue. The epilogue to that game was a whole storyline of its own that lasted hours. You would think that the epilogue, some epilogues last, 30 minutes to an hour maybe. That was a whole like second game of an epilogue, and I really think it paved the way for leading right back into RDR1.
Yeah.
If you went through RDR2, played until the credits rolled, and then played the epilogue, and then played RDR1, I think it would be an incredible experience.
That's why tinfoil hat time, I believe that they have remade RDR1.
Oh, probably.
And I believe that after GTA 6 drops and it's been out for a little bit, I think they're going to just drop the RDR1 remake, and it's going to be in the same engine. But it's just going to look really good.
And a funny little thing is, I've watched some of these voice actors go into like the Comic-Con booths and all that stuff. The guy who plays John Marston, that's his actual voice. He doesn't change it at all.
Yeah, they were like, what? It's a very funny interview. It's like, what voice do you want me to do for this? So like, yours?
Yeah, like his voice is that pronounced. It's funny because it's not like he looks like John Marston, but he kind of does. He's from Texas. He's this thin, tall, skinny guy, but his voice is so raspy and deep. He's got a perfect voice for acting.
Yeah, he has such a distinct voice. And the guy who does Arthur Morgan's voice also has a distinct voice.
And that guy actually looks like Arthur.
He looks like Arthur. He doesn't sound like him originally, but he does look like him.
But I think that RDR2, as far as Rockstar game storylines goes, was one of the best ones that Rockstar did, personally.
I completely agree. Red Dead Redemption 2 for me is my favorite Red Dead Redemption, my favorite Red Dead game. Because I actually like it a bit more than Red Dead Revolver. Although I love Red Dead
Revolver was great.
It's so good. But Red Dead Redemption 2 I put it at the same level for me as Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Okay.
Because Grand Theft Auto Vice City was my favorite one.
Okay.
But Red Dead Redemption 2 was an entirely original story.
Mm-hmm.
Grand Theft Auto Vice City was just every mobster movie that was set in the 80s mixed into one.
That's fair. That's fair.
You got Scarface, you got Casino, you got all that, which I love those movies, which is why I like Vice City. But no, Red Dead Redemption 2, like you said, characters will invite you out. They'll be like, Arthur, you want to go fishing? You can say no, and they'll still go fishing.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, and you can make friends with some of the strangers. You can make choices. To your point, like some of these strangers, you can make choices, which is incredible. Now, Rockstar isn't really known for making choices.
Well, yeah, I mean, to that point, when depending on what you do in the first half of the game affects the second half of the game.
Yeah.
So like if you're a good person and then the second half of the game happens, you reach that point where you're in the second half of the game, people treat you differently.
Yeah.
If you're just a ruthless killer, people treat you like you're a ruthless killer. Like they'll be like, I hope you suffer.
Yeah.
Like it's so good.
And it's funny because if you like beat up a shop owner, if you come in the next 2 days later, you'll see the shop owner with like head wraps on and like a black eye and all this stuff, and you'll be like, oh, you're here again, and stuff like that. Also, I will say, the fact that they had Texas Hold'em in RDR2 and it actually worked was one of my favorite features of that game. I would spend hours playing poker.
I spent so much time playing poker in Red Dead 2. I spent the least amount of time fishing because I got so distracted by everything else, I could not find a way to go fishing.
Now, unfortunately, with Red Dead Redemption 2 came Red Dead Online, and it was one of the worst tragedies ever.
Yeah, Red Dead Online was it should have been a knockout of the park.
Yeah,
but it was just it was so bad.
Honestly, if they just took Red Dead Redemption 2 and made it co-op in the same world that you lived in, it would have just made it fine. I
mean, all you had to do was have the open world. You just had to do it like Grand Theft Auto Online.
Yeah.
And they just didn't. They made it.
It was so empty.
There was nothing there.
Yeah. Like me and a buddy used to play it a lot, and all we would do is we'd go online, we'd fish until the point where, well, by the way, Red Dead Online is insanely hard to make money.
Yeah, because they were trying to push microtransactions.
And so we'd go fishing enough to make enough money that we could join into a full-fledged poker game, and we'd be on Discord just talking about what hands we have so that we could just like bump each other up and then just completely annihilate the table. We're cheating, but it was fine.
That's okay. They didn't catch you, so there wasn't a shootout.
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption Online was the big stumble.
Yeah. It was a big stumble.
And a lot of the missions in Red Dead Online were just missions from Red Dead Redemption in the same spots. It was very, very unfortunate. But overall, I completely agree. 2018, I think Red Dead Redemption 2, totally right there.
Yeah,
perfect game.
I could have a whole episode on RDR2.
I would love to have a whole episode on RDR.
The one thing I will say about RDR2, and my last comment on it, is there's a lot of people out there that don't like Wild West games. And I understand
and they're wrong.
I have some friends that really don't like Wild West games.
And they're wrong.
That game, though, if take the Wild West out of it, I mean, I know you can't, but if you put it to the side as its own thing, RDR2 is 100% worth playing just to play the story.
Yeah.
That story is incredible. You will get emotionally attached to everything.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't do any of the side stuff, it's still a fantastic story.
Yeah.
But, all right, moving on to 2019, a game I have not played.
I have not played yet.
But I own. It is called Control, and it is in the Alan Wake series. It's by Remedy Entertainment. It is not the latest game anymore. It's weird spin-off sequel just came out. It's this one apparently plays like a Metroidvania kind of deal. I don't know though, because looking in 2019 with all the games that came out, you got Devil May Cry 5, you have Death Stranding, you have the Resident Evil 2 remake, Apex Legends, you have Sekiro, you got Disco Elysium, Final Fantasy Shadowbringers, which I don't think expansions should win Game of the Year on principle, but still, you had Jedi Fallen Order. You know, you had so many games that came out this year. I mean, on the flip side, you also had games like fucking Borderlands 3 and Far Cry New Dawn, which were ass.
Yeah.
But like, there was so much that came out this year. I don't think I wouldn't put Control as Game of the Year.
I mean,
and I mean, to be fair, I haven't played it. Maybe it is.
Yeah, but you know, to your list that I played a good amount of those. I mean, I haven't played it, so I can't knock it. I can't say no, it's not.
Yeah.
But
it wouldn't be my pick.
There are other games on there that would definitely be my pick.
Yeah. I do have it on my list, and I am planning on playing through the entire Alan Wake series at some point.
I will say I played the first Alan Wake. I didn't play much more than that. Not because I didn't like it. I just didn't realize there was more until Alan Wake 2 came out, and then I started researching it, and I was like, oh, wow, there's a lot of games in this series.
Yeah.
But the original Alan Wake was really fun.
Yeah. I will get to it eventually. 2020 is one that I completely disagree with.
Oh, no, you love that. What are you talking about?
I completely disagree with this game.
I mean, that game is just as bad as that year was.
Yeah. Last of Us Part 2. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no.
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 In a year... the
dog was very naughty that year.
Yeah, and the dog was naughty. In a year with... All right, Last of Us Part 2. In a year with Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Animal Crossing New Horizons. No, there's no way in hell.
And I'm just going to put this comment out now. Even though I played a lot of those other games, based on principle alone of 2020 and what happened with everybody knows with the epidemic, Animal Crossing New Horizons definitely should have had that
Animal Crossing New Horizons. As much as I love Doom Eternal and Final Fantasy VII Remake, you know...
That game gave hope to so many people during that trying time.
It was the one thing that connected people in that time.
Yeah.
It should have been... on principle alone, Animal Crossing New Horizons should have been Game of the Year
100%.
pick for this. So, Last of Us Part 2 should have won, like, what do they call them? Razzies for, like, TV?
Yeah.
Like, whatever the video game equivalent of that is, like, the brown, disgusting, grimy joystick, they should have won that. Yeah.
It won the dumpster award for us.
The dumpster fire award of the year. Screw that game. Moving on to 2021. This one, so I played the first one of this, and I've never played the sequel, and I'm actually very upset.
I never played any of them, actually.
So, Psychonauts 2 won Game of the Year for EGM, and I've never played this one. I really, really, really liked the first one, and I was so excited about this one. And I think just 2021, there was just so much that came out. My brain just couldn't, because 2021 had Resident Evil Village. It had Metroid Dread. It had It Takes Two, Monster Hunter Rise, the Nier Replicant remake. It had Tales of Arise. It had the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes. Inscription came out this year.
Inscription was great.
Inscription was fantastic. The new Pokemon Snap came out. Forgotten City came out this year. So there was so much that came out this year that I don't know that I would pick Psychonauts. Again, I haven't played it, but like for all the highs that I mentioned, there were a lot of lows in 2021.
Yes.
One of the lows was Life is Strange True Colors. That one sucked. Balan Wonderworld was really bad. Let's see. There was another one that I saw. Far Cry 6, unfortunately, wasn't very good. Back 4 Blood looked so promising, and they fumbled it immediately.
Yeah.
Deathloop, I've actually heard fairly decent things about recently, but I remember when it came out, people didn't really care for it. And then you had you had your mid games, although you did have the greatest game ever, Cookie Run Kingdom, which we're not sponsored by, but we could be. I actually really like that game. All right, and finally we're on the last one of our list, and
deserving.
I think this one deserves it.
It deserves it.
I think it deserves it. And again, another open world game that I actually really like, despite hating open world games, is Elden Ring.
For you not liking open world games but loving FromSoft, it's a bit of a conundrum.
Well, most of them aren't open world. They're just interconnected and feel open world.
Kind of like the OG Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, this one is just straight up open world. And they pretended that this game was smaller than it was. This game is freaking huge. But
you feel so tiny in it.
The world
is just massive.
You need the horse because you are so tiny. The world's absolutely massive. I really want to play Night Rain. I've heard, my friends who have played it have a lot of fun with it. I just need people to play it with. But no, Elden Ring is it's just everything I love about Dark Souls, but bigger. Plus a jump button, which, let's be honest,
we all wanted it.
We needed it.
Yeah,
forever.
We all wanted it.
But I mean, with the other games that came out this year, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Stray, God of War Ragnarok, there was a few others, but like there really wasn't a huge list of games that came out in 2022.
There was I've actually been interested in playing Stray. I don't know if you mentioned it, but
Stray's fun. It's a short little game where you play as a cat.
I heard it's very pretty looking though. So
it can be. Yeah. But yeah, Elden Ring completely deserves it.
Oh yeah. I mean, Elden Ring, that's the thing. Like since about 2020, 2021, it's just been 3 or 4 like desert years. We've gotten a couple solids out of it, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's been pretty dry.
Yeah, I would say since 2015, I think. And maybe I'll readjust that date when we in a later episode.
Yeah.
But I think since 2015, we have had very high highs and very low lows every year. Yeah. And it just kind of makes the middle ground just kind of fade into obscurity.
And it's unfortunate because that middle ground is in the middle to high ground is where you find a lot of those indie games.
Yeah, you find a lot of really, really good indie games too. Yeah. So I don't know. I think for the most part, I don't know about you, but I agree with EGM. I think for the most part, they did pretty well.
I agree with it to an extent.
There were just a few that we had points of contention with.
Yeah, I do feel that, some of these, obviously, it's based on popularity rather than, the actual gameplay itself. I think those were points of contention.
Yeah, Last of Us.
But at the same time, speaking of which, The Last of Us Part 2, I could not see The Last of Us Part 2 being more popular than the Animal Crossing back then, but, maybe it was.
It was marketing.
Yeah.
It was marketing.
At the same time, though, I think they did pretty good with this list. I'm interested to see, what Game Informer has to say.
Yeah.
In comparison. But, for the most part, I agree. I think I'm happy because we're speaking 2025. There's a very good chance that 2025 might be the first year that a indie game gets Game of the Year across the board with Claire Obscure.
God, I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we're halfway through, a little over halfway through 2025 at the time of recording, and man, it's been a banger year.
It has. I mean, you could argue 2023 with Baldur's Gate 3 because technically Lorien Studios was an indie studio, but the publisher was massive. But Claire Obscure was developed and published by the same people. So I'm interested to see. It might be the first year.
Yeah, Final Fantasy Baguette Edition. So, but yeah, this was EGM's list of Game of the Year. And next time, Game Informers.
Game Informers.
And we'll see if it takes just as long if we go on as many tangents. We'll see.
We'll see.
All right. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.